Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. This is my weekday live show. I also do a podcast that I release twice a week. And we only speak to transportation professionals on this platform, you guys, because at the end of the day, I want to put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do and who are currently doing what you are, so you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life, you guys. So as you can see, if you're watching this over on YouTube or watching this stream live, I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, and B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live yours as well. Big news happened all this weekend and everything. It's going to be a big week this week. I'm going to be out on the road traveling and going out there, and we're going to get into all that, you guys. But before we do anything, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, you guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And the best part about this, you get paid to move these trailers, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out. So what they have is West Valley City, Utah, going to Calgary, Alberta, and you get $15.50 US to do that. And now also, as the current freight market exists, you know, as you're trying to look for those opportunities, you have to separate yourself in some way, shape, or form. And you can do that with VHub, you guys. Even as a broker, you can go out there and create a drop trailer pool for your customers. Paragould, Arkansas to Mississauga, Ontario, you get 1,000 Canadian to move that per trailer. There's like 250 trailers down there. And then there's another 200 over in Stoughton, Wisconsin, needing to get over to Milton, Ontario. And you get 1,000 Canadian to do that. And then finally, they have Milton, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick for 400 Canadian. You guys, so hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Whitney Young, good to see you. I love it. He is back. He's orange, and he's ready to get this started. Whitney's watching over on YouTube, you guys. And then we got Sonny Sharma. Good fucking Monday morning, orange shirt gang. Good to see you, Sonny. He's with Zems. Sonny, are you hiring? Drop that in the comments, man. And then Tracy St. Clair. Tracy, okay. Is this the same as Tracy O. St. Clair, who watches over on LinkedIn, or are you your twin? Because you guys look very similar to each other. But yeah, you guys, I go live on YouTube, you guys, and that's where I'll put all the links to all the articles that we break down on this show. I will put them up over on YouTube, as well as the audio-only replay of this, which is the Coffee with the Freight Coach podcast on iTunes and Spotify. All right, that's good to know. Good to see you transitioning. Is it better to watch over on YouTube? I'm curious, because I've had a couple of people say that YouTube is better to watch this stream, and that LinkedIn, something's going on with LinkedIn and doing live shows on there. Is that what you did? I'm genuinely curious, because obviously I can't watch my show live. Hey, what's going on? The Freight Coach is correct. Zach Williams, good morning to you as well, you guys. He is with SPI Logistics. You guys want to become an independent freight agent, take control of your financial future? It's where my freight agency's from, you guys. I'm on Team SPI. They're phenomenal partners, you guys. Hit them up. Hit them up, especially with all the uncertainty that's going on out here. It says LinkedIn user, first day tuning in, but welcome. I appreciate you joining. Nick Fleming, Chris Jarrett says, new here, struggling with these rates early this morning, shaking my head. Thanks for joining in for the first time, you guys. And hey, as always, since we are having some newer users coming in to this platform, you guys, what this is based on, if you have any sales or operations related questions for transportation, this whole thing was built on you guys having any questions. Drop them in the chat. I will answer all of them live on here. I break down articles because I like talking shit. All right. Plain and simple. You're going to hear that a lot. And mainly, you guys, I like providing insight into these articles to try and find a solution because, obviously you guys, there's some very real shit that goes on. And I never discredit that. Anytime you guys hear me speaking or you see a post that I throw out there on social media, I'm not discrediting what is going on, but it's so easy to just fucking talk about how the world's on fire. It's a dumpster fire. Everything's falling apart. There's no point in anything anymore. And that couldn't be further from the truth, you guys. There's always an opportunity that's going on out there. Let me see here. Tracy says it is better. LinkedIn isn't playing well. Also bad notifications. I've heard that. Okay, you're like the 7th person. I got a DM last Friday from a friend of mine. He was like, are you doing your live show anymore? I haven't been notified of it in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, dude, every single day. We don't take a fucking play off. Let's see. Katie Walden Burns. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Scott Collins, happy Monday from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for tuning in. Angie Garcia, thank you. Good morning to you as well. I appreciate that. And Brandon Hogan says, love the stream. I learned so much here. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that, man. Sonny Sharma says Zems is hiring. Sonny's my boy. Hit him up, you guys. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys, obviously there was some big news that happened, and you're seeing a lot of shit on social media. And again, I'm not here to discredit anything, but one thing I've been doing essentially every single day for the last 3 years. That's when I went into business for myself. I started my company literally in the middle of the right at the beginning of COVID. There is so much fucking noise out there, you guys, but what can I control and what can you control? To Nick Fleming's thing earlier this morning, saying what rates are. How can we control that? What can we do in these situations? And it's going to constantly come. Like, it's never going to be easy. It's never going to be ideal. This is just what it takes. Like, you have to continuously show up. I have went back to what worked for me early on. I only focus on today. Yes, I have long-term visions. I have dreams. I have aspirations. I have execution points that I have to follow, but I can't control what is going to happen tomorrow or even later this day. I can control me right now, my efforts, my attention right now, this hour. And that's what I did early on. And I'm going to continue to do that because I found a lot of success in that, about just focusing on what I can control. And it's always going to go down to my efforts. This market that we're in right now, and we're going to talk about this in some of these articles as well. So this is just the precursor to a lot of this. This market is tough, right? It's tough. There's no denying it. It's tough out there for the carriers who rates are dropping on. It's tough to get new business as a broker or continue at the same levels that you did as a broker with your existing customers, because the shit's tough. You guys, it's highly competitive out there. But there's still an opportunity, right? No matter what, there's an opportunity. How are you approaching your day though? Like, how are you attacking your calls, your emails, and everything else? Are you getting deterred by what feedback or little feedback that you're getting out there? Again, I'm getting just as many rejections as you guys are. All right. I'm out here actively every single day soliciting business. I am soliciting shippers. I am soliciting my current customers to earn more business with all of this. And I personally, you guys, I'm doing this every single day with you. And I'm just giving you my perspective on what I'm seeing out here. If you're newer to the industry, I've seen this exact market before. You guys, I've seen this exact same shit. And it's easy to pay attention to headlines that read that everything, the bottom's falling out and everything else. This is a prime opportunity to eliminate the noise, eliminate the distractions, and focus on you, because my company over these next couple of years is going to fucking grow. My company is going to fucking win. All right. That opportunity is equally afforded to every single one of you who are watching this right now and who are going through and trying to build this up. The only people who are not going to make it are the ones who decide ultimately they can't deal with it anymore. They can't deal with the rejection. They can't deal with the no's and looking at this and seeing like, oh, freight volumes are down and everything else that's going on out there. It's a very real scenario, but we're all fucking going through it. I'm not going to quit. I don't have a option but this. I will win or I will win. That is it. I have my family that depends on me, as I'm sure you guys all do as well. All right. That is my mentality that I am following until this shit passes, because it's only a matter of time. All right. My personal assumption, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I'm going to continue to show up every single day and fight through this bullshit until we get to the other side. All right. My company will grow with it through this exponentially, and all of yours has that exact same opportunity. So that's my little soapbox this Monday morning. I'm sorry. I'm just fired up because I'm so fucking sick and tired of seeing everyone bitching and moaning. All right. You go through any social media feed, it's all the sky's falling, fuck everything, yada, yada, yada. I fucking can't stand that stuff. All right. I cannot stand that stuff. Again, I know there's very, very real shit that goes on out there, but I got to focus on what I can control. And that's what I'm going to do here. So that being said, we're going to get into some articles here. There is also fuel will be released. I think it's today or tomorrow. I always forget, but the national average is at $4.29 a gallon. I'll do an update on that. And then also, if you guys are going to be at Con Expo in Vegas, I'm flying up there. I'm going to be there all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, and then probably Friday morning as well. Say hi. I'll be walking around. You'll obviously be able to notice me if you see me, because your boy doesn't deviate away from the blaze orange and the backwards hat. So that's what we're going to be doing out there. And we're going to continue. So yeah, if you guys are out there at Con Expo, Con Ag, hit me up. I'd love to meet up, say hi, and venture around with you guys. So, all right. That being said, yeah, Nick, that's literally all we can. I have a child, so every time I hear "Keep Swimming," I think of Dora, whatever her name was on Finding Nemo. All right, you guys. First rate article. Excuse me. This is from freightwaves.com. I missed this. This came out last week, but transportation prices set record for rate of decline in February. Logistics Manager Index captures fastest price drop in 6.5-year history. Transportation prices fell in February at the fastest rate that was out there. It registered a reading of 36.1 for transportation costs in February, 5.9 percentage points lower than in January, and below the prior record, which was established in December. A level below 50 indicates a contraction, while one above signals expansion. And then, let me see, the report said that the rate declines were a little more pronounced in the later portions of the month than in the beginning of the month. February is generally the low point seasonally due to consumer spending hangover from the holidays, and also combined with slowness of imports due to the Chinese New Year. It also acknowledged the large sequential decline from January was likely tied to severe winter storms in December, which pushed shipments to January, which provided a bump out there. Also, one thing to note, contracts are generally published in January. When you do an RFP, all right, from my experience, rates are published they're awarded in January, published in February. So again, I'm trying to tie in some correlations here. I'm not saying that rates aren't falling, but I'm trying to explain the reason behind why you would see a drop like that. Because in the first part of January, you are still going off of your finalized contracted rates from the year prior until the new ones are awarded and published, and then they roll out sometimes late January, sometimes early February. So that's where you can see a lot of this on top of the weather that was out there, and other factors that play into freight rates changing. Transportation capacity expanded at a high rate again in February, hovering at an all-time high. It was at 70.4, and the all-time high was 73.1 back in October. Transportation utilization remained in growth territory, albeit 5.1% lower than in January. Downstream respondents, mostly retailers that are closer to the consumer, registered a utilization of 59.5. I'm just downstream, yada, yada. While the freight recovery has not yet begun, it does seem that we may have hit or have at least gotten to the bottom of the market. I think the bottom's already happened. I think we're already starting to fucking scrape and claw our way up. It talks about inventory levels that expanded out there, and that inventory costs grew and warehousing capacity is up and it moved into expansion territory. And then also a lack of supply has been the primary driver behind inflation over the past over the last year. This includes the lack of necessary supply of warehousing. The report stated, as warehousing becomes more available, supply chains will become more efficient and the cost of holding and moving goods will decrease. All right, so the LMI is a collaboration of a bunch of colleges and is in conjunction with the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals out there.
Switching. There's several factors. During the high natural, because of the high natural
sorry
gas.
about that. So yeah, all right. That article, freightwaves.com, transportation price set record for rate of decline in February of this year. So again, I put my piece out there on why I feel like that, is kind of tied into that. But again, how are you going to deal with a lot of this? Because price is a factor, right? As you're getting in the door with new shippers, new prospects, new customers, all of that, price is a factor. It's always going to be a factor at first. But, for me personally, though, when I'm out there prospecting right now, you guys, I've onboarded new customers here over the last 30 days. I've never once mentioned I can save you some money on your freight. All right. That's not my MO. And again, that's not me being anything other than I want them to understand the value that I can bring to the table. Because yes, the dollars and cents are always going to be a part of the equation, you guys, but I'm out here selling based off of my industry knowledge and my industry experience. All right. I'm also putting out there the fact that I am a pure full-fledged broker. Right. I don't have assets to work with. I've never had assets to work with. So I think that, to kind of tie this all together here, you guys, when you try and angle a certain lane or area that you can't actually execute upon, that is more detrimental to you than just ripping off the fucking Band-Aid and coming at it with that open mindset. I'm a full-fledged freight broker. I do not own any trucks out there, right? I don't have any trucks to work with. I'm never going to sell myself on, I have that. I have the capabilities to build a carrier base. I have carriers in my network that I work with frequently, but I don't own any of those trucking companies. Going in there and saving on pricing. And again, you guys, I released a couple weeks back 2 podcasts from 2 very large transportation managers the companies are very large. All right. They tell you how to prospect them. Both of them mentioned that price thing that I talked to you guys about in there. Listen to those past episodes. It'll give you all the insight and information you need, you guys, especially during this time. All right. Next article. Sorry, guys. I drink a lot of coffee throughout the day, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I'm going to have to take some sips in the middle of my show. Next article is FreightWaves as well. And this is decline in truck transportation jobs, the 3rd biggest in the last decade. Outside of the big drop when the pandemic began, February's decrease, largest going back to 2013. The job losses suffered by this sector in February have almost no precedent in the last 10 years, except for the massive drop in April of 2020 and a similar drop almost 10 years ago. The Bureau of Labor Statistics data showed that there was a decline of 8,500 jobs in February, coming in at pretty much 1.6 million on a seasonally adjusted basis. The downloadable data by this in its report, a review of every month going back to January of 2013, turns up no other month except for April of 2020, in which a number of jobs itself fell by that effect. Outside of April, the only bigger 1-month decline was 9,000 jobs in March of 2013. And then before the February report, there had only been 3 months since the pandemic began in which truck transportation jobs declined out there. The decline from January, also accompanied by a revision in the original figure reported last month that was out there. The end result is that on a seasonally adjusted basis, the industry was told in early February and January. All right, I'm David Spencer. So the drop in jobs has come. All right. So David Spencer, who's the VP of Market Intelligence at Arrive Logistics, said the drop in jobs coming alongside signals that trucking companies are getting from the market. The jobs decline is given by the results carriers are seeing in this year's current RFP season. With shippers lowering volume expectations, carriers will be providing smaller commitments, which means the same way that spot rates are starting to bottom out. He said there are other indicators of the weaknesses in the markets that are ongoing, such as equipment prices declining. While many carriers were holding out hope for a recovery, I believe that we are now seeing adjusting to the new conditions with more confidence. Used equipment prices declining. Okay. So in relation to these last couple of years, I think a very smart data point to pull in to consideration when you're looking at overall freight volumes is where were they at historically prior to the largest like the COVID eras, like those couple of years. Where were volumes at prior in relative comparison to right now? I think you need to remove the spike, right? Because there was a lot of shit that happened over these last couple of years that drove a lot of unprecedented purchasing, inventory, backups at the port, fucking you name it. A lot of factors played into this. So I'm not discrediting that data because data is great. I love data. I use data all the time to make a lot of informed decisions on this. But I think it is very imperative to note how the market was operating prior to that time frame and base that on that. I think used equipment prices coming down is a direct reflection of how Class 8 orders are being fulfilled now. So people don't need to buy used trucks or new to them trucks. They can go brand new to their OEMs. They can purchase their trucks, and that's what they have to worry about. They don't have to go into the used market and worry about that anymore. So I think that there's, again, there's a lot of explanations for this. Again, I'm not saying that there aren't shit that's happening. I know if you're out there and you lost your job recently, you're kind of like, well, go fuck yourself. Respect. I get it. But where we are is, again, like, what caused a lot of this? I think that people made decisions at early 2020 that they probably looking back on now. And again, I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback or anything like that. When they've laid off a bunch of people and then they panic hired a bunch of people back later that year when the volume and everything kind of seemingly came back in. And then again, a lot of people are losing their jobs because they kind of just rode the coattail of the extremely high upward market that lasted as long as it did. I also think that as an executive of a company, this is why you're paid the big bucks, is to be able to forecast a lot of this and have some certainty behind it, because your frontline team shouldn't suffer in that regard. But I think that at the end of the day, a lot of what we're seeing right now is just due to very shitty decisions that were made over the last couple of years. And this is kind of where we find ourselves. It was panic. Again, the panic's real, right? The panic was very real. Panic, lay off a bunch of people, panic hire a bunch of people. And now that the market isn't operating at a massive surplus of freight volume, now all of a sudden there's a lot of jobs that are deemed redundant. And unfortunately, that's where we are right now. But with that being said, that's not everywhere. I still know a lot of companies that are hiring and looking for that. So again, as always, you guys, if you were affected by this, DM me. I can put you in contact with the right people because fortunately, I know a lot of quality people in this industry. So that article, you guys, was from FreightWaves again. It was decline in jobs, the third biggest in the last decade. Again, that's a very real thing. Jobs are declining in the industry right now, but I think that paying attention to the last 5 years as opposed to the last 2 are very important to take into consideration as how you're forecasting out the next 12 months for your organization. And as always, you guys, all the links to the articles will be up over on the YouTube channel, as well as the Copy with the Freight Coach audio only replay with this. Last article, third and final article. This came from Transportation Today News, and it was about a bill that was introduced to repeal the excise tax on heavy trucks. Representatives from California and New Hampshire reintroduced legislation repealing the 12% federal excise tax on heavy trucks, which legislators announced on Wednesday. Legislation would eliminate the tax on heavy trucks that have been in place for more than a century. The highest tax levied on any product in the country. It adds $15,000 to $30,000 to the cost of new heavy trucks, trailers, semi-trailer chassis, and tractors for highway use. Paid at the time of sale and not levied on used truck sales, the tax discourages the purchase of new vehicles that were out there. Let me see. On one hand, regulators want to operate out of older trucks, but on the other hand, this tax penalizes them for trying to update their equipment. LaMalfa said, repealing this 12% federal tax on heavy trucks and trailers will help all businesses reduce costs, address supply chain challenges, and lower costs for essential goods for families, especially in rural areas. And this tax has outlived its original purpose out there. This was originally passed to raise money during World War I and World War II, the Great Depression, and for the Highway Trust Fund. That bill was set to expire in 1987, fucking year after I was born. However, Congress extended that. Shocker. As a small business owner, I know just how challenging it can be to operate a business, and every potential savings we can to deliver makes a difference. Cutting the federal tax on these trucks will help America's Main Street economy grow. I am all about tax cuts. 1,000 fucking % stand behind this bill to eliminate this entirely, because that puts more money back in people's pockets. $15,000 to $30,000. That's a substantial amount of money that we're talking about there, especially for a small business, especially right now. This helps them pay off their truck faster. 15 grand, shit, that might be their entire insurance premium for the year. You know, like that's a lot of money that puts it back into small businesses' pocket. That way they can reinvest in their business. Who knows? Maybe create some more jobs, right? Because I think that these tax breaks that come down to the small business out there, that's what they want to do. They want to invest it back into their company and they want to grow. And I'm just speaking from my personal experience, because as a small business owner, that's exactly what I want to do. With all of that, if they can reduce my taxes, that means I can hire more people. I can grow my company, which then adds more local jobs in my community, my more American jobs, to help pump money into those local economies that are out there. Because that's what I'm looking to do, create American jobs in my company that helps out the local economies that my companies are located in, which will eventually be in all 50 states. But right now, with where it is, that's where I stand. So I 1,000% stand behind this bill and reducing this, because this puts more money in people's pockets. All right. And I'm all about that. I'm all about lower taxes for us, especially ones that are designed to help the owner operator and small fleet out there, because that's going to keep them in business. All right. 1,000% stand behind this one. TransportationTodayNews.com. Bill introduced to repeal excise tax on heavy trucks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm in studio tomorrow one more day. I fly to Vegas tomorrow night. I will be at Con Expo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning. You'll see me walking around there. I'm trying to coordinate. Like, this event's fucking massive, so I'm trying to coordinate with them about being able to get in and get my live show on site one of the days. Realistically, it'll probably be Thursday. But again, I'll keep you posted on that. If you're there, say hi. You'll see me walking around, blaze orange polo, because that's how I roll. But we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. And as always, you guys, if you guys saw value, share the show. If you guys are over on YouTube, subscribe to this. If you're going to watch it hear that audio only replay on iTunes and Spotify, subscribe, rank, share it, you guys, because at the end of the day, if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you.